Welcome back, comrades. This is Gaming with Austin, and today we're on episode 57 of the Utopian Community series. And to explain why you shouldn't be putting a carnivorous animal on a non-carnivorous diet, especially if the animal's an obligate carnivore. This is mainly because they don't have the physiology to digest anything that is not meat. Here we go. And here we go. We're gonna focus on we're gonna keep adding, like, shrinking the hole between the floors. And as more and more of us are starting to eat more meat, farms are trying to keep up with demand. The result? Intensive animal farming. The best thing we should have done was to avoid eating meat. Some people believe that the only way to stop animals from stealing our food is for us to become full-on meat-only, to go on a meat-only diet. A bloody raw meat. You know, eating meat, killing animals to eat their flesh, for humans, like large animals, it's not about population control because they don't multiply as quickly as smaller pests. And cats like to bring home... An example of such animal that doesn't multiply as quickly, even though they're herbivores, deer are one of those. You know, it doesn't matter if the slaughter is called humane, you're still killing an animal that just doesn't want to die. What drives animals into not willing to die? What makes them want to live? There's something called the fear of the unknown. This is something no animal can overcome. You cannot overcome that fear at all. If we did, all life on Earth would go extinct. To explain why cats like to hunt, and to prove that, one thing PETA wants you to believe is that the I pose is vegan. Is that your cat can? They want you to believe that cats can go vegan. Truth is, if you put your cat on a vegan diet, you're literally killing your cat. Just don't. I don't like to kill animals. You know, with honey, with consumption of honey, people should still be allowed to eat honey, but they gotta be careful where they get it. Some people believe that all the mass shootings are staged by the government as a way to perpetuate the crime rate. If we want to if we want to cripple Al-Qaeda, I have a tip for you. This is a message for you. This is a message for Congress, to Congress. If you want to stop terrorism, you need to stop supporting. You need to stop trading with You need to stop buying stuff, importing stuff from countries that are funding terrorist groups. That's the thing you need to do. And if I lived on a real farm, if I'm gonna get milk, I'd be milking the cow while the cow is asleep. Like, I'd find a pregnant cow, then take advantage of it. The reason you PETA supporters need to stop supporting PETA, because they're brainwashing you into believing that cats can go vegan. Cats can't. Ingrid, Newkirk, until you learn that cats are obligate carnivores that must eat meat, like Ingrid Newkirk, if you want more supporters, you have to admit this. Cats cannot survive without meat in their diet. If their vegan, so-called vegan cat owner decides to put them on a vegan diet, they're putting their cat's life at risk. Because there are owners out there who are literally killing their cats with a vegan diet. This is just horrible. I have a message for you. Yes, this is very serious. You're misleading people into believing that all animals can go vegan. Here's the cold hard fact about animal welfare. Your concern of animal welfare must include a biologically appropriate diet. Dogs can get away with a vegan diet, which is a good thing. Cats, the sad thing about owning a cat is, if you own a cat, if you want a pet but don't want to support the meat industry, go for an animal that doesn't have to have meat in its diet. But if you have a cat, take your cat outside to hunt. Because that's what they do all the time. Hunting. I know you're not going to believe this. Your idea of animal welfare is going to cause a collapse of the ecosystem. I agree with you on the hunting. Like, by humans. I get that. But most of the cats they kill as feral cats are our pests. Without those feral cats, if we got rid of every feral cat, we could see a collapse of the ecosystem. I get that we should not be eating meat, but we do anyway. Some people mislead others into believing that humans can only survive on a fully carnivorous diet. An example of such is this guy who thought it was a good idea to terrorize a bunch of vegan festival goers who just by eating a bloody hunk of raw meat. This is horrible. One of the problems here's to my ideology. The problems with that arise with the bourgeoisie, as people become more bourgeoisified, is that more and more farm animals end up suffering. Because richer people tend to eat meat more compared to the working class. If we all went vegetarian, it'd give us an economic boost. Healthcare and housing should be a right to all of us. But if there's not enough housing to house 10 billion people by then because of climate change, we'd be waiting several years to get a house. In fact, some people will die on the waiting list to get a house. Because climate change is affecting housing costs too. It ain't just the demand for housing that's causing it to go up. Competition's also driving prices up. To prove that, even though more and more companies are making the foldable smartphone, prices are remaining the same. In fact, the average prices are actually going up. One of the lies Peter wants you to believe is that cats can go vegan. Truth is, they cannot. Cats must... Have you heard of the documentary called Cats Uncovered by the British Broadcasting Company? If you haven't, check it out, Ingrid. It proves that cats must eat meat to survive. They do not have the physiology to digest vegetable protein. If you put your cat on the vegan diet, you're literally letting your cat die a slow, horrible death. I have a tip for you. Inform people that cats are obligate carnivores and they must eat meat to survive. Then I'll support you again. The problem with when it goes to feral cats, Ingrid, I have a message for you. If you get rid of every feral cat there is in the city and around the world, there's going to be a huge consequence for the ecosystem. That the entire ecosystem will suffer. Yes, we'll suffer too. Some of those birds like to steal our food too. Thankfully, we have cats for that. Lower prices can drive... competition ultimately does more harm than good to the costs. It only works in the short term. We need something that is good for the long term. We need state-funded healthcare. Some people believe that religion is the only way to heal you of your ailment. This is never true. Because there are deaths related to denying your child health care for religious reasons. Try to stick with science. Don't go for faith-based medicines because most of them, their effectiveness is kind of disputed. Faith healing really does not work in healing you of your illness. Whether it be cancer or heart disease. If you want legitimate healing from your illness, see a doctor. Talk to a doctor. I know some people would see my beliefs as a violation of freedom of religious belief. Here's the thing. You should not rely on religion to heal as a form of medicine. It doesn't work. Go for science. Until you stop leading people to believe that cats can go vegan, people should stop supporting your animal rights group, Ingrid. This is because cats are obligate carnivores. They are not omnivores. Just because humans and dogs can go vegan does not mean... Just because we can go vegan does not mean all animals can go vegan. To prove that, look at the physiology of a cat. Their gut is too short to digest plant material. Their stomach acid's too strong for gut flora to survive. The good thing about humans going vegan is that their cholesterol ultimately drops a lot. I know there are people out there in this world who think it's a good idea to eat something called high meat, where basically you let the meat ferment. The raw meat ferment out in the sun for months. It's pretty disgusting. The guy was Sverige with the 3. The only reason I subscribe to you, I'm thinking about ranting on you for promoting this behavior. This carnivorous behavior. Like, encouraging people to eat raw, not just raw meat, but also meat that has been left out in the sun for months. Like, 5-month-old wheel horse. That's all you say is real. 10-month-old wheel liver. I know you're gonna get pissed off by this, but trust me, you gotta stop doing that. You're gonna get really sick by eating raw and or rotten meat. I myself don't eat meat, dairy, nor eggs. The muscles I have are legitimate muscles. They're not water balloons. They are not water balloons like you want people to believe. They are legit muscles. Not all vegans get malnourished. But lions are a very different story. Our bodies produce cholesterol. You'd never see a lion grazing. They need meat to survive. Here's a tip. For all of you. Don't eat meat raw, because it's disgusting. Like, especially if it's rotten. Our bodies cannot digest raw meat. Unless, but there are people... Most of us cannot digest raw meat. They gotta cook it first. If I lived on an actual farm, if I was raising animals, livestock for food, I'd let the animals die a natural death. I wouldn't forcefully cause their death. No, I'd let them die a natural death. I know some Muslims are gonna get pissed off by this. But letting them die a natural death is the most humane way to do it. where the meat has most of the flavor. A lot of flavor. Because there's this restaurant in Spain that pampers their cattle for 20 years before they send them to slaughter. Like, for about 20 years of their life, before they get slaughtered. Because most of the flavor of grocery store meat is artificial. Grocery store meat cows only live about 1 to 5 years before they get slaughtered. Why would a guy eat a bloody hunk of raw meat in front of a bunch of vegan festival goers? This is just disgusting. I know this kind of offends me. Yet at the same time, I know this kind of offends me. But not really. The only time people should be eating meat is if they are in a dire situation, like if they're in the middle of a famine. Like if there's not enough food for a particular civilization. Cats eat raw meat and don't get sick. This is because their stomach acids... Their guts are best suited for digesting raw meat. I have a message for you, Ingrid Newkirk. You know, it's not just cats that you shouldn't put on a vegan diet. You should never put any feline on a vegan diet whatsoever. The best thing you can feed them, raw meat. Bloody raw meat. Complete with bones. I know this sounds kind of gross, but cats need that. They can't digest vegetable protein, like in the vegan cat food. If I had a cat, the best thing I'm gonna do is feed them raw meat. I'd take out the nerve tissue first. Like, I'll be getting some chicken wings for the cat to munch and crunch on. This is for... Like, I'd be feeding my cat responsibly. Not that commercial cat food like you feed them. Because it doesn't provide them with a balanced diet. Dogs can easily get away with the vegan diet. Even if the vegan cat food has essential amino acids they need, they're not going to be able to digest it. Because for one, their stomach acid is too strong for gut flora to survive. And gut flora is vital to the digestion plant material. If you're gonna buy honey, be careful where on how the honey is harvested. Beekeepers need to be very careful trying to keep the bees alive. They need to leave some for them too. It's the most humane way to gather meat is to scavenge. Ironically, though, climate change caused us to start eating meat from the start. Ironically, though, climate change caused us to start eating meat. Ironically, though. If you want to keep your heart healthy for a long period of time, the best thing you can do is to not eat meat. For all the pizza companies out there, I'd like for you to have vegan options. Which is why I'm boycotting you, Little Caesars. Until you have vegan options available, I'm not eating any of your pizza. Now, I'm not the only vegan out there. There are people just like me. Blaze Pizza, has vegan options, so does Forenza. Anyways, this is it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video, dislike if you disliked it, subscribe for more, share this with your comrades on social media. As always, thank you for watching, stay tuned for more, support me on Patreon, and as always, peace out.